Hello there. This podcast is designed to help you find the materials you need to complete your assignment, but also to do it efficiently and well. In many ways, it'll be the reverse of how you've done things in the past, but believe me, it works. We'll start with using Google Scholar. Now, this is a database that is linked to JSTOR, a collection of over 2,000 academic journals. Now, if you consider that a post-war run of a journal will easily cover 2 meters of shelves, it means that Google Scholar is searching 4 kilometers of paper. And it's not just looking at the titles, it's searching every single page. Now, besides this, it's also connected with Google Books, which has so far scanned 20 million volumes. So if it gives you 300,000 references in less than a second, don't complain. Just be amazed and grateful you didn't have to do it all by yourself by hand. Now, if there's a university library or a national library near you, and they are linked to JSTOR, just ask them for temporary researcher status. Now, if this isn't possible, JSTOR will allow you to read 3 articles for 2 weeks for free, and allow you to replace them with 3 others after those 2 weeks have passed. But if you choose this route, wait until you really know what you want. Now, alternatively, you can have access to the whole database for a month for $19.50 at the time of recording. Now, the first thing is to type Google Scholar into whichever search engine you're using and to go to their page. It will probably use the language of your URL, but don't worry, they search everything. If you like, though, you can adjust your language settings to English. Now, type in a term. I've used United Nations and Security Council, both in inverted commas. You always do this when you want to keep 2 words together. And we have indeed got 231,000 references. Okay, let's have a look at the page together. Let's start down the column on the left. The default is set for articles, so leave it at that. Next, we're offered some default date settings. Now, unless we really want to go back to the beginning of the United Nations history, we can just limit our search to the most recent period. So let's choose since 2011 and lose some of the older material. And indeed, it clears out 90% of the materials we have to look through. Now, if it's an older incident that you want, you can always use the custom range to get exactly the years you want to examine. Next, we can sort by relevance or by date. Now, my advice is to choose relevance. If you really want the most recent materials, use the date settings. And finally, we're given the option of including patents and citations. Don't do it. Now, let's look underneath the individual references we've been given, because there are also some very valuable tools. But note that not every item offers the same possibilities. The first is cited by. Now, if you like the look of an article, this is very useful, since it'll take you to more up-to-date articles that have actually used the article that you liked. It's like an invitation to meet the rest of the family. Next are related articles. These are either spin-offs or other parts of a series of studies. Then we come to all versions. Now, these are often similar versions published elsewhere, possibly as a working paper or in an open access database. If it's an open access database or a working paper, you can get hold of them for free. Then we get Cite, which offers you 3 different ways of quoting the article. Now, choose one of them and copy and paste it into a bibliography. Imagine all the fun times we had when we had to do that by hand. And finally, with Save, you can keep the reference. Now, let's have a look at the content. The 4th article down, Determinants of Elections to the Security Council. That looks like fun. If I click on the title, I usually get transported to a summary of the article, and I do this time as well. So let's have a look. Yeah, that looks interesting, so I can cut and paste it and add it to my bibliography for now. But heck, they want me to pay for it. Well, there are 11 other versions, and some of those have URLs to the right, and so I'll click on one of those, and you might be able to download the whole article for free. When I do that, I always retitle it using the first author and the year of publication in the document description. And 14 other people have cited it, so let's go and see who they are. No, done. It's mostly the authors themselves, but never mind, it's not always like that. Note, by the way, that you can also adjust the date in this selection and include a new search term to be used only within that section. Now, trawl through all these main pages until they become a bit dull, but do take in the first 10 pages. And then, if you want, you can amend the research term, for example, by adding election to the mixture. Now, by now, you'll have a growing bibliography with summaries or abstracts of articles. You could actually start putting them into subcategories if you like. And don't forget to keep the bibliography in alphabetical order. It makes everything easier to find, and you'll have to do it anyway for your assignment. But now we move on to the next stage. Let's go back to Google itself. United Nations or UN, Security Council, elections. And we get 15 million hits. Yep, that's crazy. Absolutely crazy. But we can make some sense out of this. Now, one trick is to add the term working paper to the search. Now, these weren't captured by Google Scholar unless they were part of previous versions. And here we start picking up a couple of titles on the first page already. Determinants of elections. What is a seat worth? Now, another good move, instead of using working paper, is to add the term PDF. Now, this is the format in which many documents are published. And now I'm picking one or two other titles, a special research report. Now, there's one final move. Let's visit the organization itself. Now, usually at the top of their homepage, there is a link to documents or publications or research. And here it is, documents. You can burrow in there if you like, and there's usually a mass of information, but in this case, not too much for us. But that doesn't mean that with another example, you won't have a better result. So those are the first steps. You've surveyed the materials, and you should now read through the summaries that you've collected and try to cluster what interests you. Go back if necessary and see who's been using them, and have a look for the more interesting ones. And also start to look at the footnotes and see what sources they use. Well, that's all for now, and next time we'll have a look at how to frame a research question.